In this video, I'm going to talk about the introduction paper and presentation. Now, in Canvas, these are listed as two separate assignments. However, they're very clearly linked together, and in the presentation, you're very much just going to be talking about what you wrote in your paper, as well as introducing yourself. I want to give a brief overview of what you'll do in the paper. However, I do want to note that in the assignments menu in Canvas, as well as in one of the earlier modules in our class, I have information about both of these assignments, and I'd say make sure you're reading through that as it contains the details of what should be done in both of those assignments. For the paper, there are really three things that you're going to be doing. The first thing is you're going to develop your own definition of health communication. So after reading through some of the early chapters of the book, how would you define health communication and provide an explanation supporting your definition? After that, you're going to identify some of the current challenges in the healthcare system or facing health communication. And some of those are in our textbook, but what I would like you to do is read through what we have there and select the two challenges that you think are the most important and provide an explanation supporting that. After that, I want you to look through what we have coming up in our book, and I want you to identify either the topic or chapter that you think is the most interesting and explain why. It doesn't have to be just a standalone chapter. It could be some of the topics that are covered within chapters, but I want you to identify the one that you think is the most interesting and explain why. You don't need to go ahead and read through that chapter, but what do you think is most interesting coming up and explain why. What you'll do in the presentation portion is first you'll introduce yourself to the class. Since this is an online class, we don't see each other too often, and this is a great opportunity to introduce yourself to others. And as part of this assignment, you're going to be peer reviewing other students' presentations, so you'll get to know some of them as well. After you've introduced yourself, you're essentially going to be talking through those three topics, those points that you should be talking about in the paper. Those should be in your presentation where you talk through those. What you'll want to do is you'll want to avoid simply reading from your paper, and that isn't something you should be doing. Instead, you should talk about your definition of health communication, the two challenges that you see, and the topic or chapter that you think is most interesting. The one point where you can read from your paper is when you're providing your definition, since you want to be specific with that. But other than that, you should avoid simply reading from your paper and instead talk about what you've written about. Now, there's more information about both of these assignments in Canvas, so make sure you look at the assignments menu, make sure you look at the content I have available in the modules for you, and as always, you can contact your instructor in case you have more questions about either of these assignments.